Hey, Smarty Pants! The problem is that your savings account probably makes about 0.06% in interest, which, to put it in real terms, means for every $1,000 you keep in that savings account over the course of a year, you will earn 60 cents in interest. You would literally make more in one day cleaning out your coat pockets than you would in the entire year with $1,000. So let's talk about how you can save money safely while actually making some decent returns. I'll be explaining high-yield savings accounts, certificates of deposits, otherwise known as CDs, and inflation-linked savings bonds, otherwise known as I-bonds. So you can make $6, $23, $96 for every $1,000 you keep in that account. Personal finance is personal. This is for informational, educational purposes only. Talk to a certified financial planner to find out what is best for you. Chances are, unless you're watching this the day it is published, interest rates will have changed for all the different accounts I'm going to talk about. So a quick Google search will tell you what the current rates are for all these different accounts. Let's start with the easy peasy savings vehicle, the high yield savings account, which is like a bike with training wheels. It gets you used to the idea of saving your money and not touching it. The high-yield savings account is a darling among personal finance gurus for good reason. It's really easy to set up, it makes 10 times what you will make in a regular savings account, and it makes the guru sound like they know what they're talking about, which sometimes they do know what they're talking about. Sometimes they do not know what they're talking about. All it is a savings account that makes you more interest than your regular brick-and-mortar bank savings accounts will. And this is because high-yield savings accounts are usually internet-only banks. High-yield savings accounts will get you, right now, 0.6%, which, $1,000 over the course of a year, that means $6 in interest, which, that ain't nothing to write home about. But if your money is just going to be sitting there, it might as well be making 0.6% in interest rather than 0.06% in interest. It's like if you're going to be doing chores, you might as well be listening to podcasts at the same time. If your money's just going to be sitting there, it might as well be in a high-yield savings account rather than a regular savings account. Now, you can use this for any kind of money that you're going to need at the drop of a hat. Vehicle maintenance funds, emergency savings, that kind of thing. You can take the money out at any time, but you're limited to 6 withdrawals per month. Now, if you're moving your money from a high-yield savings account to your checking account before you can spend it, it might take a day or two for it to get from the high-yield savings account to your checking account. So if you're going to need your money immediately, it's probably best then to just leave it in a savings account with your bank. But for most things, you don't have to pay for it that day. If you go looking for a high-yield savings account, you'll see that most of them have about the same interest rate, and then occasionally you'll see one that has a way higher interest rate. Watch out. Usually that means that they have far higher fees somewhere else. You're going to want to do the math before signing up for that, because if a deal looks too good to be true, chances are kinda is. When you're looking for a high-yield savings account, watch out for fees no matter where you go. My name is Kate Moody, financial educator and coach, here to help independent women outsmart their money. If that sounds good to you, subscribe. Now let's take the training wheels off and talk about CDs. Not the kind I spent all my money on in high school, the kind my grandmother talked about and I had no idea what she was talking about. CD stands for Certificate of Deposit. Basically, you lend your money to the bank for a set period of time, anywhere from like 3 months to 5 years. Some banks will even do 10-year CDs. The longer you lend the bank the money, the higher the interest rate you will get. The interest rates are higher with CDs because you are telling the bank that you won't touch the money for that set period of time. Unlike in a savings account where you can access it anytime. So if something happens, you can get to that CD money, but there will be a small fee. You'll want to ask about the penalties for withdrawing early when you go to get the CD. CD rates change all the time. Right now, Tuesday, May 10th, 2022, a 1-year CD will get you about 1.25%. A 5-year CD will get you about 2.25%. For those of you keeping track, that is $13 and $23 respectively for every $1,000 over the course of a year. CDs might be a really good option for you if you're afraid you'll dip into your money early, or you know you're going to be buying a big purchase like in a few years. Say you wanted to go on a large trip 3 years from now. A CD might be a good place to store that money so that way you can't touch it. And it's getting better interest than it would in a regular savings account. And if you have a lot of emergency savings, you could split up your emergency savings, put half of it in a high yield savings account, half of it in long-term CDs. That way, most emergencies you could pay for out of the savings account. But if it really hits the fan, you'd still have access to that CD money. You would have to pay a small fee for taking it out early. Know that since you're locking your money in the CD, should rates go up, you're gonna miss out on those higher rates. But should rates go down, you're also going to have locked in that higher rate. So that is the kind of risk you take on when getting a CD. The risk of missing out on better rates down the line. If you want to learn 24 ways to stress less, save more, and get control over your money, check out my 24 easy money moves, link in the description. And lastly, we graduate to a 10-speed bike in the form of an I-bond. Still a bike, you can still ride it, but it's going to take a bit more proficiency to really use it properly. I-bond stands for Inflation-Linked Savings Bond. It is meant to keep the value of your money in line with how much your money can buy at any given time. So when inflation goes up, the rate of the I-bond matches it. That's why I-bonds are giving such good rates right now. I-bonds are giving 9.62% in interest right now, which is unheard of. You can't get that anywhere else. 9.62% means $96 for every $1,000 you have in that account over the course of a year. That is insane. That is a really good return. Of course, there are stipulations. The way they work is more complicated than a high yield savings account or a CD. Remember, it's like a 10-speed bike compared to a kiddie bike or a kiddie bike with training wheels. I recommend you go to treasurydirect.gov to read the full explanation on how they work. I will lose you if I try to do it here. Basic rules of I-bonds is every taxpayer can buy $10,000 worth of I-bonds every year. And twice a year, the interest rate on those I-bonds will change based on what the inflation rate is and what your fixed rate of return is. I told you that I was going to lose you if I explained it too much, so I'm leaving it there. Go to treasurydirect.gov and they will explain it more. Now, the bad side. Unlike a certificate of deposit or a high yield savings account where if need be, you can access the money, for the first year of having this I-bond, you cannot touch that money. And for 4 years after that, there's a penalty if you take the money out early. Although I-bonds look like a fantastic savings vehicle right now, nobody knows what the rates are going to be down the line. And if your money is tied up in those I-bonds, they might be getting way lower returns than other things down the line. So you have the same risk you had when you locked up your money in a CD, but even a bit more risk since you can't touch the money for 1 year. When you put your money in an I-bond, you miss out on those potential opportunities. I-bonds could be a great option for you if you have very low risk tolerance, know you won't need to access the money for at least 1 year, and are looking to make the most returns in that year. All rates change. You're going to need to look up what are the current high yield savings account interest rates, what are the current certificate of deposit interest rates, and what I-bonds are giving right now. I hope this helps. Again, talk to a financial advisor to find out what is best for you in your situation. Cheers.